Everybody, welcome back. All right, so it has been 1 week, and so we are back for our 1 week update of the garden, of the urban, container garden. And so yeah, let's see what we got going on here. Alright, so this is our first bucket. This is tomato and basil, and nothing. There's not a single sprout in there whatsoever. Alright, we're going to move on to our marigolds. Now these should have been the first thing that sprouted. And as you can see here, we got no marigolds, nothing whatsoever. And it's the same for both of them. However, when we come up into our second tomato and basil, alright, so right down here, we have a sprout here. I believe that's a tomato. And then right over here, this little guy here, I'm pretty sure that's a basil. So we have 2 sprouts in one bucket, so that's pretty exciting. So after 1 week, we are seeing some action. Alright, now we come over here to our cilantro jalapeno bucket number 1. Nothing going on there. Come over to cilantro jalapeno 2. Nothing going on there. And then we come over here to our eggplant mint. And there's nothing going on here, but this should be like one of the last ones anyway. However, we come over here to our first of our 4 sister buckets. And if you look right here, that's a corn. So we have a corn popping this head up in this one. So that's pretty nice. Now if you come over to our second bucket, we have a corn, a pretty tall corn here. We have a green bean here. Then we have a green bean or a sunflower up here. Not real sure about that one. The only reason I say that, you'll see in a minute here. We come over here to our third one. And here we have a sprout up in here. In that location, it could either be the green bean or the sunflower. Remember, I put 2 near both. But the corn is a distinctly different shoot. Now, if we come over here to our 4th one, here we have a corn sticking up. And then over here we have what I believe is a green bean. And over here we have a green bean or a sunflower. So we got some action going on there. And then over here in the last of the 4 sisters, we do have a green bean or sunflower, whatever, too. It's in that same area, sprouting up over there. So we are having some growth in almost, in 1, 2, 3, 4, all 5 of the 5 sister buckets we have growth. And in one of our tomato basil, we do have 2 sprouts. Now, bear note, this is the soil that I've been working on for a couple years now, so that is a little bit better soil. But as you can see, all the soil is working. So, and that soil started with that one. Now we come over here, and I'm not sure if this tree is going to live or die. We won't know until next year. But I did put a squash down in this area here, but there's no sprout yet. However, now we're going to take a quick walk over for a surprise. Now this one here, again, I'm not sure if this tree's going to live or die. It was to transplant, but as you can see here, we have some sprouts here. And I'll explain those in just a minute. But as you can see, there's a whole bunch of them coming up. And I pulled this grip of sprouts. I saw the roots from another location, which we're going to go check out. Just bear with me here. You saw my short earlier on in the week, then you know where we're going. But look, this is my compost pile. Well, my compost bucket. And as you can see here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. At least 9 sprouts in this one right here. Well, these are spaghetti squash. These are the same squash I planted with the Four Sisters. And obviously I didn't buy, I bought seeds, but I shouldn't have, because these seeds work just fine. However, I don't know if these are non-GMO. I don't know if we'll get any squash from these ones. Only time will tell, but you can see that my compost is doing great. So, but yeah, so there was another group of seeds like this one right here, and it had nothing but shoots in it. And so I took a clump of seeds like that, and I put it in that bucket where the possibly dead, but we're not sure until next year, tree is, because the way it was transplanted wasn't the best ways. So yeah, let the light catch up here in a minute. So yeah, so the way that the trees were transplanted was not the best way. They should have been pruned back before they pulled them up, but they pulled them up because they were remodeling. So we took them. I'm not sure if they're going to take or not, but a chance to get a couple pomegranate trees at no cost, you know, I couldn't say no. So time will tell if they grow. But as you can see, even if you're in the desert, as I am, and if you don't have a yard, you know, I'm on concrete, you can get some of these buckets, and I think you can get them for like $3 in most places. Sometimes if you go by restaurants, they'll just throw them away, and you can actually get them from the restaurants as well. But you can grow food in containers, even here in the desert. Now, at least for a while, these are going to take a lot of water every day. Once they get big enough, I'll put some mulch down so that I keep the moisture in. But as you can see, it can be done. And so this is like that one little step you can take to self-sufficiency, to a healthier diet, because at least if you're growing it, you have not 100%, but you have a better idea of what's going in there. Now, I am still working on my irrigation system, and of course I'm going to have to work on a gutter system for this house, because it doesn't rain here a lot, but when it does, sometimes we get a lot of rain. And so I would like to install a system on my roof over here. Hold on. I would like to install a gutter system on the roof right there, and then that way I can just have a system that just comes down here, and I can have like a big bucket installed right here, because I'm going to put my irrigation system in somewhere around here. Actually, I'll probably put it down at this end, and down here at the very end I'm going to put the rain gutter down here, so it collects it from you know, these two sides of the roof. And I'll come it down here, bring it down here, and I'll install my bucket system right here on the corner of the fence. There's my doggies. But I'm gonna put the irrigation system right here, probably like right here on this corner right here, because in that way I can spread these buckets out over the front here, and then we're gonna get some of that artificial grass. They were out at the time I went to get it, but we're gonna put the artificial grass down, and then that way, when the squash grows out of these buckets here, they're gonna have a softer, less heat absorbent place to grow, so that the squashes don't burn on the concrete. So you can see, you know, if you have the space, you have the desire to grow your own garden, you can do it even in the desert. Now, of course, this is just the first step. I've got the sprouts. We've got some basil, some tomato, some corn, some green beans, some squash, possibly a sunflower. So I have the growth. They've sprouted. Now the next step is going to be keeping them alive, and that's going to be the harder part. As it gets further into the summer, it's going to get a lot hotter. And so we're definitely I'm gonna have to move this bucket over to the grass too. But I'll probably put it on the other side of I'll put it down over there somewhere. But yeah, so the easy part, as you can see, sprouting seeds, that's easy. Keeping them alive, that's gonna be another trick. Now the worst case scenario, even if the flowers don't take, I got these horrible bushes here. They create a whole lot of these little purple flowers that bring the pollinators in. So one way or the other, if I can keep them alive long enough. And in the desert, that's always the learning curve, is how to keep your plants alive once you got them going. But we're going to figure it out this year. We're going to crack the code, and I'm going to have a nice healthy harvest. And by the end of the year, you're going to see that harvest. We'll probably do weekly updates just so we can, I can show you the growth as we go along through the season. But I think that it's important to know that no matter where you're at, if you have the desire and the willpower, you can create yourself a garden, which you can get healthier food, cheaper food. I mean, you're paying for water anyway, and especially if you're if you're somewhere where you're able to harness the skies, if you will, and get that rainwater in. If you're able to do that, then you're going to be able to be a lot more self-sufficient. And if each and every one of us was just a little bit more self-sufficient, it would make life easier on our whole economy, on our whole system. So, but we have so many people that all they want to do is consume. Nobody wants to produce anymore. And if the system fails, if you're taking that little step, prepping up some food, stocking some beans and rice and some pasta and some canned fruits and vegetables and canned meats, if you're taking the time to stock up on your food, taking the time to learn how to grow your own food, because in the end, canned goods, dried goods, they're only going to last so long. You have to have another way of sustaining yourself, being able to grow foods, hunt foods, fish for food. It all comes into play in surviving. And I think that, not to be an alarmist, but we might be a few years away from an event that cripples us. Hopefully we're not. But either way, I'm going to be eating healthier because I'm growing my own foods. Later on this year, I'm going to be hunting my own foods. So I'll be, I'll have a little bit more faith in where my meat's coming from, where my fish are coming from. I mean, you're never 100% sure. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it's foolproof that it's going to be healthier, but I have more faith in the fruits and vegetables that I grow as to the ones that I buy in the store. Because as we saw those potatoes last year, they made beautiful potato plants, but not a single potato. So obviously, they were seed potatoes because they probably not non-GMO. So they had messed with them somehow. So, and I myself, I prefer to eat, healthier, fresher food. All right, that's it for this week. That's the update. As you can see, so far so good. After 1 week, we have a lot of growth. To be honest, more than I expected. I thought I'd have like 1 or 2, but I didn't think I'd have, all but a few buckets. I've got 5, 6. I got 6 buckets, 7 buckets. The compost pile. I've got fruits and vegetables growing all over the place. So, anyway, that's it for this week. Until next week, keep prepping, keep gardening. Oh yeah, if it's your first time on the channel, please consider subscribing. Do me a favor, if you are subscribed, hit that thumbs up button. It'll push it out to more people. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Did you think anything was going to sprout this fast? Anyway, until next time, keep prepping.